Do not scroll. Do not skip. Because what is happening in this exact second, in this precise moment that something made you stop and stay, is not coincidence. You were not randomly served this message. Heaven does not work randomly. You were brought here because there is something that needs to be said directly to you, something that Archangel Michael has been waiting for the right moment to release, and this is the moment. Stay right here, because what is about to be spoken over your life is going to reach into the specific pain of what was done to you and turn it into something that the people who did it never saw coming. They used you. Let that sit for a moment without rushing past it. They used you, not accidentally, not out of confusion or immaturity alone. They looked at what you had, your kindness, your loyalty, your willingness to show up, your genuine heart that gave without calculating the return, and they made a decision. A cold and deliberate decision to extract from you everything that served them while investing nothing real in return. They took your time, they took your energy, they took your emotional resources, they took your trust and your vulnerability and your belief in them, and they used all of it to build something for themselves while leaving you with the weight of what their absence cost you. And you stayed longer than you should have, not because you were foolish, but because you are the kind of person who believes in people even when the evidence suggests you should stop. You are the kind of person who gives the benefit of the doubt until the doubt becomes undeniable. You are the kind of person whose loyalty is so deep that extracting yourself from someone who does not deserve it feels like a betrayal of your own values. And they knew that about you. They counted on it. They built their entire strategy around the specific goodness in you that made leaving them feel harder than staying. Do not scroll. Archangel Michael is standing in this moment. What is coming next is going to change how you see everything. Stay until the very end. You need to understand something about what was taken from you, because right now, in this season, there is probably a voice that is trying to convince you that what happened to you was somehow a reflection of your worth. That the fact that someone looked at everything you are and decided to use it rather than honor it says something true about your value. That the experience of being taken advantage of by someone you trusted means something about how much you deserve to be treated well. That voice is lying. And not just slightly, catastrophically. What happened to you was not a verdict on your value. It was a revelation of their character. There is a fundamental difference between those two things that changes everything about how you interpret what you went through. When someone uses a person of genuine worth, they are not exposing a flaw in the person being used. They are exposing a devastation in themselves, a poverty of character so profound that they cannot encounter something real and beautiful without immediately calculating how to drain it for personal gain. They could not honor what you offered, because honoring it would have required them to be someone they are not, someone with integrity, someone with the capacity for genuine reciprocity, someone who understands that another human being is not a resource to be extracted from, but a soul to be met. They did not have that capacity, and their lack is not your fault, but their consequences are their own, and the consequences are coming. Stay right here. Do not move. Archangel Michael says, what is loading for the people who used you is something they did not calculate when they made their decision to take from you. And the calculation they missed is about to become the most significant oversight of their lives. Let me tell you about karma. Not the watered-down cultural version of karma that gets reduced to bumper stickers and casual references. The real thing. The spiritual law that is as consistent and as unignorable as gravity. The principle woven into the fabric of creation itself that says what you do to others returns to you. Not as punishment from an angry God sitting in judgment, but as a natural consequence of the seeds you plant. You cannot plant betrayal and harvest trust. You cannot plant extraction and harvest abundance. You cannot plant the deliberate wounding of a genuinely good person and harvest peace. The people who used you planted something when they made that choice. They may not have understood that in the moment. They may have been so focused on what they were taking that they did not think about what they were simultaneously releasing into their own future. But the planting happened regardless of their awareness. And seeds do not need the planter to believe in them to grow. Seeds grow because that is what seeds do. And what was planted in the moment they chose to use you instead of honor you has been growing in the soil of their life ever since. What is coming for them is not something you have to engineer or chase or pray against them specifically to receive. You do not have to carry the weight of wanting something bad to happen to them. Heaven is already handling it. The law is already in motion. The return on what they planted is already calculating itself into their circumstances in ways they are beginning to feel, even if they have not yet connected it to its source. Do not scroll. Stay with me. The part that is going to set something free inside of you is coming. I want to talk about what they are experiencing right now, because something in you needs to know that what was done to you did not go unnoticed by heaven. That the tears you cried in private, the nights you lay awake processing the specific pain of betrayal from someone you trusted, the moments when you replayed the interactions and tried to understand how someone could look you in the face and take from you the way they did, all of that was witnessed. Heaven saw every single moment of it, and heaven does not watch the suffering of its chosen ones without responding. What they are experiencing right now, and some of you already have the evidence of this, even if you have not fully processed it yet, is a collapse of the structure they built with what they took from you. Because everything built on extraction is built on a foundation that cannot hold permanent weight. What they constructed using your resources, your energy, your loyalty, your time, is beginning to show the cracks that are always present in things built by taking rather than by genuine investment. The relationships they performed for while they were using you are becoming difficult to maintain. The image they projected, the version of themselves they showed to the world while draining you in private, is becoming harder to sustain. The opportunities that opened because of what they extracted from you are beginning to close, because the character required to walk through those opportunities honestly is character they do not have. The peace they seem to have while they were taking from you is fragmenting, because peace built on someone else's pain has no real foundation. They are feeling it, even if they have not admitted it, even if they have constructed an elaborate internal narrative about how what happened was justified or your fault or simply business or just the way the world works. Even inside that narrative, in the quiet moments when the noise of self-justification goes silent, they are feeling the weight of what they did and what is coming back. Do not move. Archangel Michael says, do not skip this part. What is being released over your life right now is the freedom that comes from understanding what is truly happening in the invisible realm around the people who hurt you. Stay right here. Now I want to speak to the part of you that is still carrying something you were never meant to carry, because the people who use you leave something behind when they go. Not just the practical damage of what was taken, something subtler and in some ways more lasting. A question, a specific internal question that has been living somewhere in your chest since this happened. The question of what was wrong with you that you were treated this way. The question of whether your goodness made you a target and whether the solution is to become less good. The question of whether people who trust as deeply as you trust are simply asking to be taken advantage of, and whether the lesson you are supposed to take from this is that you were naive. None of those questions have true answers that indict you, but they have been sitting in you asking themselves on repeat, and they have been slowly, without your full awareness, doing damage, quietly reshaping how open you allow yourself to be, quietly tightening the access that people have to the real you, quietly building walls that feel like wisdom, but are actually just pain dressed in the language of protection. Archangel Michael says, tell them. Tell them to put those questions down, right now. Not eventually, now. Those questions were planted by the enemy of your peace to use the experience of what was done to you as a weapon against your future. To take the fact that one person or several people chose exploitation over honor and turn it into a verdict on whether you should ever trust again, on whether your capacity for genuine love and genuine loyalty is a liability rather than one of the most powerful gifts you carry. Your goodness is not the problem. Your depth is not the problem. Your willingness to invest in people is not the problem. The problem was their character, and their character is their problem. And it is becoming their problem in ways that are increasingly difficult for them to escape. You do not need to become less to protect yourself from people like them. You need to become more discerning about who receives access to what you carry. There is a difference between closing your heart and guarding your heart. Closing your heart costs you everything that is still coming. Guarding your heart simply means that the specific goodness in you, goes to people who have demonstrated the capacity to handle it with care. And there are people like that coming. The same heaven that is bringing consequences to the ones who misused you is also bringing connections to you that are built on genuine recognition of your worth. Stay with me. Do not scroll. To show Archangel Michael that you received this word, go to the comments right now and type, "My season is changing." Let your declaration open the door for what heaven is releasing over your life. Do it now and then stay until the end, because the revelation of what is specifically coming for you is still ahead. I want to be very specific about what karma looks like for the people who used you, because I know part of you has wondered, has imagined, has tried to see in your mind's eye what the return on their actions looks like when it fully arrives. That wondering is human, and it is not something to be ashamed of. The desire to see justice is written into the nature of every person who has been genuinely wronged. It is not pettiness. It is the deep human longing for a world where actions have proportional consequences, where what you do to someone vulnerable and trusting does not simply disappear into the air, but comes back around in a way that makes the moral order visible. Here is what is coming for them. And I want you to hear this not with hatred in your heart, but with the kind of clarity that comes from understanding how spiritual law actually works. The first thing coming for them is relational exposure. The mask they wore with you, the version of themselves they performed while they were extracting from you, is going to crack in their other relationships. People around them who have been holding a favorable image of them are going to start seeing the things you saw. Not all at once. Gradually, in the specific way that character always eventually reveals itself, no matter how carefully it has been managed. A response that does not match the situation. A moment of cruelty that cannot be explained away. A pattern that becomes visible once you know to look for it. People who trusted them are going to start to feel what you felt. And the isolation that follows the loss of trust is a weight that cannot be carried lightly. The second thing coming for them is the loss of what they built with what they took. Whatever they constructed during the season, they were using you. Whatever they built or gained or advanced, using the resources they extracted from your life, it is going to become unstable. Not necessarily overnight. But the cracks are already present because the foundation is not solid. What is built on someone else's suffering has a specific kind of structural weakness that shows itself in time. They will feel it in ways that are confusing to them because they will not immediately understand why things that should be working are beginning to fail. The answer is that you cannot build a lasting life on borrowed integrity. The third thing coming for them is a confrontation with themselves that they cannot avoid. This is the deepest consequence and the one that is most specifically designed by heaven to be redemptive, even as it is just. There will come a moment, and for some of them it is already arriving, where they will be forced to see themselves clearly, where the story they have been telling themselves about who they are and why what they did was justified will no longer hold, where they will be alone with the truth of what they chose and what it cost another person and what it reveals about who they actually are in the moments when no one is watching. That confrontation is the most significant thing that can happen to a person. It is the invitation to genuine transformation. Some will take it, many will resist it, but none of them will escape it. Do not scroll. Stay right here. Archangel Michael is not finished. What is coming for you in this season is still being revealed. Stay until the very end, because this message is not only about what is happening to them, it is about what is happening to you. And what is happening to you is bigger than their consequences. What is happening to you is a complete reversal of everything the experience of being used tried to establish in your life. The first dimension of your reversal is the restoration of what was taken. Not just the practical things, though those are included. The intangible things, the confidence that was shaken when you realized someone you trusted saw you as a resource and not a person. The openness that contracted when the experience taught you that people cannot be trusted with your genuine heart. The lightness that disappeared when betrayal made the world feel heavier and more dangerous than it had before. Those things are being returned. Heaven restores with interest what the locusts consumed. And the version of your confidence and openness and lightness that is coming back is not the same version that existed before. It is upgraded, refined, informed by experience in a way that makes it wiser and therefore more powerful than it was before it was tested. The second dimension of your reversal is the acceleration of your purpose. There is something specific that you are on this earth to do, a contribution that only you can make in the specific way that your specific combination of gifts and experience and character allows you to make it. The people who used you thought they were simply taking from you. They did not understand that in taking from you, they were also, without intending to, removing from your life things that were holding you in a place that was smaller than your destiny. Some of what they took needed to go, not because losing it was not painful, because what it made room for is larger. The season of being used created a clearing, and into that clearing, heaven is now releasing what was always meant to occupy the space. The third dimension of your reversal is the arrival of people who see you clearly. The contrast between what is coming and what you left behind is going to be remarkable. When someone who genuinely honors you shows up in a space that was previously occupied by someone who did not, the difference is not subtle, it is total. And experiencing that difference is going to reframe everything you went through, because it is going to make visible in the most tangible way exactly how much you deserved better all along. You were not asking for too much. You were offering it to people who could not receive it properly. And the people who can receive it properly are being moved toward you in this season. Do not move. Do not skip. The final word that Archangel Michael is releasing over you right now is the most important word in this entire message. Stay until the very end. I want to talk about forgiveness, not because you owe it to them in any timeline they get to dictate, not because forgiving them means pretending what they did was acceptable or agreeing that you deserved it or removing the consequences that are coming their way. Forgiveness has nothing to do with any of those things. Forgiveness is entirely and only about you. It is about refusing to carry the weight of what they did into your own future. It is about recognizing that the anger and the bitterness and the desire for a specific kind of revenge, as understandable as all of those feelings are, is a chain that connects you to the people who hurt you. And you have been connected to them long enough. The moment you release the chain is the moment you become fully free to move toward everything that is coming, not before. Because the weight of unforgiveness is a specific kind of gravity that holds you in proximity to your past, even when your present is trying to take you somewhere new. And what is coming for you in this season is so good and so far from where you have been that you need every bit of your energy available to receive it. You cannot receive with a closed fist, and holding on to what they did keeps your fist closed. Archangel Michael says, release it. Not for them, for you. For the version of your life that is waiting on the other side of this release. For the relationships that are coming that need you to arrive without the weight of the old ones dragging behind you. For the purpose that is accelerating toward you that requires both hands to carry. Release it. And in releasing it, become something they never counted on when they chose to use you. Become free. Become whole. Become the living proof that what they did to you did not stop what heaven had planned for you. It only changed the route. Share this message with someone who has been used and who needs to know that heaven has not been silent about it. Someone who is carrying the weight of betrayal and needs permission to put it down. Someone who needs to hear that the karma they have been waiting for is not their responsibility to chase, because it is already in motion. When you carry this word for others, Archangel Michael carries your breakthrough forward. Subscribe to this channel so that you never miss another word that heaven releases for your season. The messages being prepared for you are specific to where you are going, and you do not want to navigate what is coming without them. My beloved child, you stayed until the end. And in staying, you received something that was specifically prepared for the specific weight you have been carrying. A confirmation that what was done to you was seen, that heaven has not been neutral about it, that the law that governs what we do to others is already working in the lives of the people who hurt you, and that your future is not defined by what they took from you, but by what heaven is now releasing into the space their leaving created. They used you, and they have no idea what they activated when they did. They have no idea that the person they chose to take from rather than honor is a chosen one. A person whose pain has a response in heaven that does not look like what they expected. That does not look like you staying small and staying wounded and staying in the story they tried to write for your life. It looks like rising. It looks like reversal. It looks like the kind of testimony that makes even the most hardened witness stop and reconsider everything they thought they knew about how the world works. Karma is not a concept, it is a law. And it is not slow, it is precise. And it is loading right now for every person who looked at your goodness and chose to use it rather than honor it. And for you, beloved, what is loading is not karma. What is loading is your season, your reversal, your restoration, your elevation into the chapter that was always coming and that nothing they did had the power to cancel. They used you. Now watch what God does with what is left.